time, Whitera is going to be desperately trying to add on more gateways and more probes. Going to the unit counting station, we can see that both players are actually even in worker count. All those kills on those workers early helped Whitera stay in the lead, and look at this pesky Stalker picking off one Marine right there. Very, very nice play. And it looks like, uh-oh, needs to be careful. Is that concussive shell done? Oh, just barely not done. Whitera needs to be so careful with that Stalker, or else that will fall down, as that concussive shell has just now finished for IntoTheRainBOw. 3 gateways just now finishing for Whitera, and ouch, look at how delayed that warp gate is. Whitera will need a sentry up to be able to force field his ramp in order to stay alive from some sort of counter push. And once Whitera gets those 4 warp gates up, that's when he really will have the momentum swinging back in his favor. But until then, it's all Marauders all the time for IntoTheRainBOw. And ooh, I love this little addition of a Hellion in here that will be extra damage boost against the Zealots and against the sentries. Very nice play. Oh god, the warp gates are still not close to being done yet. He desperately needs to get those up so he can throw down some sentries at the front of his base and get those force fields off. Here's the key critical moment before the warp gate's done. Whitera's going to be very vulnerable. He needs to throw down a perfect force field here. He needs to force field the ramp, but he wasn't looking. He needs to throw the force field. Oh no, he lets half the units up the top of the ramp, and that sentry will be taken down. Here come the warp gates for Whitera, but he's going to have a tough time choosing the appropriate mix of units, as there are a good number of Marauders, and this Hellion is going to mess up quite a bit as well. It looks like all Zealots for Whitera. Oh no, that'll be very easily microable by IntoTheRainBOw, and Whitera is going to need to spend some Chrono Boost on the remainder of these units. Here come the Zealots and that Hellion doing plenty of extra damage. Very unusual push from IntoTheRainBOw, but that Hellion is doing all the extra damage that he needs, and with that concussive shell upgrade finished, that means that Whitera will be, IntoTheRainBOw will be able to micro that back very well. Oh god, Whitera trying to get those Zealots up in the front, but look at that nice snipe on the Stalker. Whitera now trying to add on more Stalkers. This force is slowly dwindling, but look, more reinforcements coming up from IntoTheRainBOw. An intense counter push after that early sneak in there by Whitera. More Zealots trying to get moved in. Needs to start getting more Stalkers, more ranged units into this mix, because those back Marauders will be able to stay alive with nice micro. Finally reaching the worker line, Whitera trying to pull back, finally getting some more Stalkers in there, but having to pull all his guys off mining, and the Hellion getting some beautiful shots on that. Right now, Whitera cannot bring any more units into this world, as he is broke and has everything attacking up to this front, and this one Stalker is doing worlds of help picking off these extra Marauders, but it still isn't quite enough. Good game from Whitera. That was a hell of an intense opening, building those gateways in the back of Tester's main, but Tester wasn't going to be tricked. He did spot that probe early on, which means that sadly Whitera will be losing that series 0-1, or losing that first game 0-1. We will be going into game 2 in just a moment. There was a brief crash on my Firefox side, so I will be logging in to close the recording. Yes, there we go. We will be back with game 2 in just a minute between Whitera versus IntoTheRainBOw. Until then, I'm going to get myself a wholesome glass of water. See you in 20 seconds.